Usually it should kick out high stakes when we're streaming because it's our stream. Let's see.
And we're back.
Yep. See, we're back. Yeah, it's like for some reason, like Twitch. I haven't figured this out, listeners. So if you could tell me how to do this, that'd be great. Because one of the in jokes in CWF team is that Gerardo is horrible with technology. Is that I can read the green room, but the video is still high stakes gaming, and I can't click out of it. It's our channel.
Yes, the eternal mystery.
Daniel Stan says we're back.
Yeah, cool. We're good. I don't want to see. I don't want to see high stakes gaming right now. I love you, man, but I need the room. Get off the toilet. Well, so if everybody could see
You
it.
take your meetings in the bathroom?
Oh, not this one. Not this one. Well, anyway, let's start. I'm going to go ahead and clear my throat. Well, that was that exaggerated enough?
Yes, quite.
Okay. Hello. Hello there, CWF Universe. We are back with another regularly scheduled episode of CWF Backstage Pass. First
It's a
episode.
miracle.
First episode of March, and we're here. Woohoo! Consistency.
It's what we strive for,
Is what,
G.
yes, what we strive for. What we strive for. Now, as always, my name is Gerardo Paz, also known as G, one of the co-founders of Cosplay Wrestling Federation, and with me is my wonderful assistant.
Hi, I'm Ellie, and I play Sailor Moon, current reigning CWF Blackout Champion.
Now, and we have here a guest that we are very excited to present. He's a performer that we don't see too often in the CWF ring, but when we see him, it's an absolute treat. Ladies and guests, why don't you introduce yourself to the crowd?
Hello, my name is Efren. Some of you might know me as, well, Sega Santro, CM Pikachu, Santa Claus, but you might know me more from my number one character, Little Mac.
Yes, the one and only Efren is here to grace us with his presence. So, Efren, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, gotta ask. Actually, no. Let's go ahead and answer the question of the episode. So, Efren, if you aren't aware, at the end of every podcast, we propose a question to answer on the next episode. And Ellie, I think it was you who penned this question last time.
Me via our fabulous Skeletor, Daniel, who had suggested it in chat.
All right, so what's the question?
The question is, in a perfect world where there are no hang-ups or problematic components to this, what would be your dream intergender match for a WWE show?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Okay. So,
Current roster.
no, to reiterate, you got a time machine. You could pick anyone, any era, any fed.
And for any reason. Just go crazy.
Intergender. Ooh, this is a good one.
If you need some time, we can give our answers first.
Yes.
Go for it.
Ellie, you or me?
I don't know, G. I think I went first last time. You want to go first this time?
I will go first. Damn it! No! Black Freight said it. Well, actually, he said a very similar one. Black Freight writes Asuka versus Pete Dunne, when in actuality, my answer would be, okay, so for me, when they say dream match, when I think of dream match, I don't think of dream match as in like, I want this as like, I take my awesome element A and awesome element B and be the biggest hype thing. I always like to think of cohesion and theme and stuff. So it's not about like what I want to see the most, but it's more like what dynamic do I want? So I have a few. One of them is Raven versus Paige.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Ooh, fascinating.
Yes, Raven with the Ravens flock. He was always known as a very cerebral character. He was definitely rocking kind of the punk grunge aesthetic versus Paige in her rocker outfit. Uh, I would just like to see that just on the play of characters. Uh, if I had to pick another good one, it would be Beth Phoenix versus Tyler Bates.
I like it.
Yes, Beth Phoenix, very athletic. Both these wrestlers have, you know, very, I want to say regular in terms of wrestling, regular frames, but they both carry a lot of power. They're wrestlers that are deceptively strong, like Cesaro. You know what I mean about deceptively strong,
Yeah.
and very athletic. I would see that as a very physical, hard hitting match. Uh, yeah, I would be a very happy man. So I think those would be my two.
Going off theme, I got one.
Okay.
I got Bailey.
Okay.
Good love.
Bailey versus Dude Love.
How happy of a match would that be?
Oh.
Oh, they'd just hug each other to death.
Oh my god, they both would do the knee dance.
And it'd be like, no, no, you take the win. No, you take the win. And it's who's the most convincing at that point.
And there would be tassels everywhere.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it would be like so many tassels.
Imagine the racking flammable flailing tube men going off while Dude Love's theme is going as well.
Oh,
Big dance.
that's a happy match.
It's a happy match.
That is a
right there.
happy match.
At Paige and Raven, I'm like, that's a dark one.
Yeah.
Let's get a happy one.
Okay. See, this is why this is the benefit of not going first.
Well, I guess I gotta chime in with what I think would be just the most angry, brutal match that okay, so fair enough to in fairness to this question, I had been thinking about it a lot. I had a planned answer, and then last Monday Night Raw, everything went out the window because Ric Flair had a birthday party and got beaten up by Batista. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait to see Charlotte Flair tear into Batista the following night, and she didn't do anything. And now, having been denied the opportunity to see her reaction, I just want so badly for Charlotte Flair to try and challenge Batista.
Oh my god, I can see
wow.
that. That's like, I will avenge my father in the Flair name.
Yeah, just give her like a total Chun-Li story arc. Okay, I'm biased in that regard too. But yeah, just, let her get completely like crazy animal dominant physicality and then have Batista match that in whatever way he feels comfortable. It would be pretty nuts.
I like how you said animal because Batista was known as the animal when he wrestled. That's
Another one.
That's a good one. Now, okay, let's see. Green Room. Black Freight writes Asuka versus Pete Dunne. That would be great. Very hard. He also writes Nia Jax versus Yokozuna, Destruction of Tokyo. And Daniel writes, currently Becky Lynch versus Stone Cold would be awesome. There's Becky Lynch has been getting a lot of Stone Cold comparisons, and I think I think that would be a pretty daft match, especially since both of them are very no nonsense butt kickers.
I'm also seeing CM Punk versus Becky Lynch from Black Freight. And they say two smart antagonists trying to see who's more surly. That would be pretty hilarious.
There he is. Also, since Becky Lynch has come up twice, I think it would be really cool Becky Lynch versus Finn Balor.
Ooh.
Because Finn Balor mentored Becky Lynch, and it would just be a real nice Irish brawling match.
Demon versus the Man.
Yeah, good question.
Here's one.
Yeah,
I got one.
Oh, okay. What is it, Efren?
I got one more.
Man, this question's getting a lot
Bring
of
us
mileage.
home.
Got the $1 Million Man versus
Ha!
Wait, I didn't hear that second part.
Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, versus
Okay.
the Welfare Queen.
Got to bring some glow into the mix
Oh
for
my
the show.
god! Oh my god! That's. Oh my god! Oh my god! And Welfare Queen. Welfare Queen will be. Wait. Welfare Queen's face, I would assume. She would be. I, oh, she's one of my favorite characters in Glow. I mean,
The best.
not even like the character of Welfare Queen. I'm talking about that character in general in Glow, because she's just like everybody's mom you want to hug.
Oh yeah.
Whew, that was a good one. Good question. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel, for writing that one. Hope Chad, hope you like the answers we bring. Now,
And chat, you better start thinking of some questions for next week.
yeah,
You know,
because
taking suggestions seems to be panning out for us.
Oh, yeah, it's the one less thing I got to think of. We got to think of. But for those of you coming up who want to be up to speed, we are here with Efren for the Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So I gotta. We always ask this question, Efren, to our new guest. How did you get into the CWF, and what made you stay?
All right. Fanime was coming around the corner. Because you would show up to a comic book store called Chris's Comics. We would go there, we would game, and then we would talk about wrestling. One day you came in, hey, do you do any improv? Do you like pro wrestling? You shot this idea to me, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty interesting. Like, I was hesitant at first because I'm like, who am I going to be? I don't have many costumes. So then I gave you I'm like, yeah. For the longest while, until another character was announced, had like the worst application. And this is very little. Like, I didn't really have any material, but I came in with Little Mac. Here comes the show. Little Mac doesn't have any character, any traits. He's just the guy. Doc Lewis is the one who has all the personality. So I was like, all right, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, I just thought of something, that you had a really crazy hurdle to overcome because Little Mac never talked.
That's right.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your character development, given that he doesn't have much to go off of.
Okay, so what I did for Little Mac was, okay, let's look at some different boxers. A lot of my material was made up. A lot of it was what's part of the game. And also, I got to take some stuff from, I had, like, how would he talk? How would some of the current boxers talk? And how would I talk? You know, if coming from years of theater, improv, and all that stuff, I just like, all right, what's Lil Mac? What is he fighting for? He's in an element that's not his. Okay, so my shtick was, I'm here to prove I'm not just a one-dimensional boxer. I'm in Smash, a couple of games. Let's do it. Let's get another belt. And from then, you know, number one, I was the first one to go. Never seen the show before because this was the second show ever. And it was like, all right, let's just see it. Let's run through it. Had a blast. Like, I was like, oh, I might actually win this. Until Dio stepped in. The one-on-one match with Dio was just like, man, I know nothing of JoJo. I kind of got stuck in the loop of, well, let's stick with dick jokes the whole time. And then didn't work. And then I was like so bummed. I'm like, oh man, I could have won. I was so close. All right, back to the drawing board. How can I improve this for next time? How can I keep going? How can I keep going? And for me, it was like that high of performing again. Let's go to the next show. Then shows after shows, not just the mainstay shows like the Fanime, Anime Expo, but also showed up to the stuff like Krakencon when that started out. Not the first Sac Anime, but I was been to a couple of Sac Anime shows, and you know, it was just a lot of fun. I enjoyed every minute of it, and if there's ever a chance where I can show up, I'm like, cool. Hey, you know that I'm gonna always send you a message like I'm gonna be coming. Get ready. So for me, I loved it so much. So I'm like, cool, let's keep doing it. This is fun.
That seems to be a reoccurring pattern with a lot of people where they just kind of fall into it and they go, "Yeah, this is fun."
Oh, yeah.
And we all expect it to be fun going in, but any expectations of fun are completely undersold, right? Like,
Yeah, it's because people get not threatened, but frightened from the fact that I'm going on stage. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But you gotta, if you're having fun, you're gonna have a good time. Just like when you're on stage for any other thing, you're doing any activity. As long as you're having fun, that's the best thing. If you're not having fun, what are you doing?
Amen to that, which is why we're all here.
very true.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to bring up an interesting detail about Little Mac, which was I was going through your old match footage, and there were a lot of times where where you as Little Mac either borrowed lines directly or borrowed the speaking pattern of Muhammad Ali.
Was the beginning? Uh, I know for sure Fanime 1 and 2. I borrowed. If you watch some of his old stuff, it's beautiful. It's like Ali got his trash talking from Gorgeous George. There was an interview. So like, yeah, I took it from him. He would talk about I'm pretty, I'm good looking, he's very flamboyant, and the crowds hated him for that. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna take that. When I'm in the ring, I'm so pretty, I'm so fast, you can't touch my face. A lot of it had to be like, you got to have an oomph. What's gonna be character? Get that character. What's your swagger when you walk on stage? Um, how are you gonna talk? How you can do this? And the biggest thing actually was at a pro wrestling tryout when we were doing promos. You never want to necessarily take the same style and improve it and make it your own. Like if someone came up and just did, oh yeah, that's The Rock. Okay, that was The Rock. I want to see you, unless it's a spin-off on that style. Like Lil Mac was a spin-off of Muhammad Ali. Then after I started getting comfortable with the character, writing material, getting into the head, okay, how do I make this my own? How do I throw my own swagger so when people see me walk, they know it's Little Mac. It's not me. When people hear me talk, how is it Little Mac? Not me. How do I give Little Mac a personality? So it's just taking and how to spin it to make it your own is what I went through.
Sounds like really solid advice for any potential first timers that might be listening in.
Mm-hmm. Uh, you were talking about building the personality of Little Mac. So,
Mhm.
did you treat Little Mac more as a blank slate, or was this, like I get to do what I want because he doesn't do he doesn't really show anything, or is this, well, he's a boxer, and he gets beat up a lot, so I'm gonna kind of ride that edge, like, um, we're really just interested on your process of building this character because a lot of the other people in the CWF they have a foundation when your initial character was just he was literally nothing.
Oh yeah. Well, the first thing is, you know, there's a lot to a character when it comes to developing a character. Mac, he's 5'1", 100 and has no reason to be fighting heavyweights. So you look at that, he's a clear underdog. Look at the overall arcing story of Punch Out. You have all these outweigh him, who outpower him, who can like listen in one of the games. There's no reason why
Mm-hmm.
Lil Max should win against Mike Tyson, King Hippo, Super Macho Man, but he ends up being on top without him looking weak. You can go through a Punch Out game flawlessly if you get to the point where this underdog who shouldn't be here wins. And that's what I kind of took with it. If you recall, I called out all these like, Bald Bull, Super Macho Man, all these people, here I am. People say, you're a boxer. Why are you even doing this? You can't wrestle. Well, who I can beat, who I did it, and I'll do it again with a new roster. It's taking what you know from the game, the series, and developing it. In improv, you gotta, it's not scripted. So you gotta create that character, give that story, and let people know who you are. 5'10". I'm clearly not 5'1". So when I'm talking to someone who's like shorter than me, I'm like, I'm the smallest guy in this competition. It's having the physicality, having the characterization, and just remembering your base material. We talk G. I always say, we always like, no, basics, basics, basics. What's the basics of this character? If you're stuck, fall back on that. Because if you understand who you are, you can keep building and keep building.
Yeah, full disclosure, when Efren was starting out, I was one of the people he routinely saw, and we would spend like hours developing this character in the comic book store. So, I just want to get that out there to bring context to what he said.
Well, it certainly looks like it served you well, because weren't you the first ever CWF champion to retain your title as Lil Mac?
God, that was such a smooth transition. I loved it. Oh, Ellie, you're so great.
And that experience was terrifying too, because from what I recall from watching every show when it went on YouTube, it's like, we have a new champ, we got a new champ. So it was one of those things where, oh man, that's a lot of pressure. Because for those of you, here's a fun little tidbit: beating the champ is hard. Become the champ. Champ was like the hardest job ever. Not only that, when I went to Anime Expo after Fanime, I booked my ticket, called up my friend, hey, I'm staying over because I got to do a show in Anime Expo. I was by myself, the nerves of everything, and it was just like, I barely saw G that whole weekend, and when it was showtime, and there are a few, and what I focused on to retain, there is a pattern to when it comes to the show. Well, first off, the reason why our structure of the show is because I screwed up during Anime Expo.
Yeah, let's go ahead and this sounds like this sounds like an interesting backstage note. So let's to give context what Efren's about to say. Before Anime Expo, the champion would get all the information of the people entering. So the champion would know everyone who's in ahead of time, and they would write material. Now, normally, the champion would, in their promo, make fun of people. Like, that's how we structured it. But Efren messed up. He messed up on the timing. Like, he cut his promo, and then he did his initial promo, where he popped himself up like, I'm the champ, you can't beat me. And then he stopped. So looking to fill time, was like, crap, challengers, go beat up the champion. And they do, and he's just getting his butt kicked, and I whisper and ask friends, like, are you going to say it now? And he's like, oh yeah, I thought we were supposed to say it at this moment. And I just looked at him, I was like, fuck it, and I handed him the microphone.
Now, to be fair, because in the previous shows, the people who would be like the champ would talk trash to would be on stage. When I came out and did my promo, no one was on stage. So I was thinking, are they going to call them up so I can talk to each one individually? Or I was a little confused. I was like, okay, are they coming up? So actually, made the show flow. Okay, this makes sense. Because we talked about that. We're like, oh, yeah. But man, this show was stacked too, because the Anime Expo crowd, if you heard the legends of green shirt, blue shirt, we had some hard hecklers in the audience, and we had to shut them down. Like learning how to crowd control was a big, big thing because like I remember seeing Daniel get into their face. We had Chris, who was a pimp named Slipback, the face of some of the people. It was like, cool. Now we have it under control. Let's keep going. The show, there was only one new person, and that was Jaime as Mr. Satan. Everyone
Oh,
else was either
so
or
Jaime did debut on your championship
he did
episode.
debut. He was the Anime Expo 2015. That how I met him. But quick story. It was I was walking around. I had the belt on. He looks at me. He's like, "Little Mac, CWF," and I was like, "Oh, you're Mr. Satan, CWF." Crunchyroll booth. Just a few moments of just silence. Then immediately he goes, "Little Mac, you're nothing. I'm gonna take that belt." We just start going off, and it was funny. I'm not sure if he remembers that. It was really good. But back to it. Everyone in the show was either a champion or they were semifinalists. So it was just like all these people experience, and it was just like I am nervous. But then as it grew and grew, it led to one of my favorite rivalries of all time. Sure, I'm a little biased because I'm part of it, but it's my favorite one. It's the beginning of Yami Yugi versus Little Mac. From then, that story just grew organically on its own, and it's one of my favorites. And it's a shame that show was never recorded. There's like the third round, but it's not really good quality. Excuse is we took it to the Shadow Realm. So
Wait,
that's how
oh my God, that's the kayfabe. The match went into the Shadow Realm.
That fits.
That fits. That fits. But I think this would be a really good time to let's go ahead and pivot to your stage experience.
Okay.
Because Ellie and I, we live our stage experiences, and you brought it up a bit.
Yeah. In high school, I started off with improv. I'm doing improv since, 2005. I fell in love with it. It was one of my favorite things. I'm one of those people that I can't sit still. I need to constantly do something, get something, get something. And this may sound weird. I like doing things to the point where I'm numb to the nervousness. I'm doing it for fun. I was like, oh, we're doing a show? Cool. Let's do it. That's fun. And then did some, theater, musicals. And then when I moved up to Oregon, I'm part of the Capital City Theater out here. I do improv out here. I'm doing about 2 to 3 shows a month. Stand up for the first time not too long ago. I also was in band too. So yeah, been a performer for a long time.
We're going to have to touch on this stand-up thing soon, but can you tell us a little bit about what draws you to improv specifically?
Oh man, it's just for me. It's just a time, developing we have this script that we can do, or we have this. It's literally like show up. All right, what scenes are we doing? One. It's very simple. Anyone can do it. You can pick it up on the spot. Boom. Let's go on stage and perform this. And it's just one of those scenes where it's like you can be creative, and every time you do a show, it's like, oh, it's something new all the time, constantly, challenging your stage. Or okay, how do I read the crowd? Okay, what kind of crowd is this? What do they want? Cool, I got something. Or ooh, who's on my team? Cool, we can do something like this. Let's try this out. It's a lot of pick and choosing, because there's a lot to it. It's not just going on stage. What's the suggestion? It's strategy to a show. There's a whole strategy of like, okay, this is how we pinpoint every single thing. We make sure that the show is good. How we read, how we perform, and just having a good time.
you're talking about strategies. What would you say, like what's a commonly used strategy in your improv troupe of, I don't know, filling the room out or how to play moments? Because you're saying the word a lot, so I think it would be
A
really
lot of it
interesting.
is so like we have, if you play a game or everything, it's like, okay, how did they react to that? Did they get it? And if you were doing something like, okay, they're not into scene work, let's do something else. Let's or they're the gimmicky stuff, let's change it up on the spot and do all the gimmicky stuff. It's reacting. The best thing we have in improv is called yes and. If Let's take it to the CWF. If there was a if there's people in the audience, you come out, you're trying to be a baby face, but ooh, you suck. Don't take that as a, oh man, I'm not doing good. Take it as a, I suck. Well, I'm the greatest in the world. Address it, before the audience takes you over. And, that's how you get hecklers. If it's something like, let me think of
Hey,
uh,
it's always
yeah,
hard to think on the spot like that.
improv.
Improv.
But
I
like,
actually
don't
think Reagan as Star Lord at last Fanimania could be a good
oh, that's
example
a
of
perfect
that.
example, because what recently happened? It was the Avengers movie. Star Lord was kind of the reason why they lost. So what did he do? How did they react to him? Oh, they're gonna boo him? He's gonna be the most smug person and said, yes, I did do that, and I'll do it again because I'm the best, baddest person in the world. And it worked for him a lot. It was one of those things where if the audience gives you something, cool, I'm gonna take it and run with it. Because if you ignore the audience, it's like, are you really performing for us? Are you scripting this? Are you because the audience is a big part of all shows. So if you ignore them, then it's like, hey, I'm talking to you. Hey, I'm talking to you. Or if you address it, shut it down. Or, yes, I'm going to take that idea and run with it. Now I'm the greatest there is. It's being able to respond. That's why The Rock was so great as, being on the mic. John Cena is, another great one. It's being able to.
Yeah, it really speaks to the magic of wrestling and improv in general, where the show has an ebb and flow, and that there's an actual call and response as opposed to something that's scripted, where the audience's responses are just kind of ignored, and everybody does their own thing.
And I loved what it was one of the panels where we like behind the scenes of the CWF. Sam, who's reality, said it best. If they say something to you, react how your character would react. So they says, your hat is stupid. What? My hat is the greatest thing in the world. What are you talking about? You're stupid. Something like that. That could turn it around. That's how you get more attention. That's how people tune in. That's how people buy merchandise. It's like, hey, he did that to me. Or I want please, more. They're going to pay attention to you. It was Sac Anime. I was seeing Pikachu. It was Nico who he tried to heckle me. He was like, how come Ash won't win a championship? Shut it down. Then added me on Facebook that night.
It's always fun listening how other people get involved with the show before they're even involved with the show.
Oh yeah.
It, it's uh it's so that's kind of like one of my personal favorite things. But Ellie, you brought up the stand up, right?
Yes, I would love to hear what led you to trying stand up and what the circumstances of that were like, and a little bit about your routine if you're down to share that with us.
The theater that I'm part with, there's different types of shows. Um, and Jared, if you happen to listen to this, hey. So there's a lot of different shows. So there's a lot of different improv shows, a lot of gimmicky shows, and there's also stand-up. They're big advocates for stand-up, and there's actually quite a lot of stand-up nights at different places where I live in downtown. So because there's Valentine's Day, instead of having an improv show on the Wednesday the night before, they moved stand-up. So I'm like, hey, I have time. Let's go try it. And the way I went on stage, I'm like, first off, it's an open mic. Okay. In a while, excuse me, that I started having jitters. I was like, ooh, I'm nervous. I like this feeling. And then how I went through my routine is my daily life as, all right, what's real? What about me is out of the ordinary that not most people, or stuff that, yeah, this happens to me all the time, or it doesn't happen to me all the time.
All right,
I talk about
I gotta go. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, but I just for context, was this routine something you already scripted out, like you already developed, or did you really get on the mic and just started talking?
it was something that I, just like with Little Mac, I wrote a bunch of stuff down and I constantly practiced it. I'm like, does this feel okay? No, it was kind of hard to say. I wasn't comfortable saying that. Let's try something else. And I kept repeating, reciting all of this different material to the point where um, the flow of that's comfortable for me. These are probably places to hit for jokes. This is where I want to hit. Like, this is where hopefully people will laugh. Let's pause a little. This is where I develop the story, talking, and how my presence on stage and just speaking, how am I going to engage this audience who more than likely have had a couple of beers by the time I go up. So it's your beats when it comes to your stand up, your beats when it comes to how you're speaking, and your rhythm. And so for me, I constantly wrote it down and I practiced until that felt good to say. Now let's go more in depth on it.
You know, that listening to your stories about improv and stand up and CWF, there's a pattern here. There's a pattern. Anyone notice this pattern, or am I going crazy?
I'm with you, G. I'm starting to see how we have a multi-time champ on our hands.
Well, that, and you're literally, it's almost all these endeavors, you just literally fall into them.
It's again, I do it because I love it. It's fun. Um, with pro wrestling, me and my brothers would watch it. We would also perform it in our living room, getting in trouble all the time. But then, I like strategy games, and I like to think of everything like, all right, this is how this piece goes together. Now let's bring out the final product. And then going on stage was, let's do this. And it went pretty well. I was pretty happy with the performance.
That's listening to you talk about this. You have a way of dissecting things, like, because whenever I see you on stage, I always had you down as somebody who kind of goes off a little bit more on the instinct side, but listening to you, it really feels more like there. I mean, there is instinct, there is a little bit of feeling out, but it's more like this. Your routines and your mythology is a lot more dissected and structured than one would think. Especially,
yeah, it seems like you're really a strategist when it comes to, and a pragmatist when it comes to tackling each new performance type.
Yeah, like for me, I like we've played games together. We've when it comes to like, all right, this is my hand. I know it's in my deck. If I play this, I like to dissect as much as possible, because again, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. When it came to Little Mac, there was a lot of moments where I'm like, oh man, I can't use that line. I can't force it. Let's change it up. Let's put that away for another show. I think I still have a lot of my notes from like the one, And then I'm like, okay, that didn't work that time. Let's put it in this show, see how that feels out. Let's take this and put it here. Okay, that was a good flow. Let's take it, let's develop it, and yes, if you play, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, or any game really, that's what I like doing. I like coming out with a plan. Hell, when I moved to Oregon, I came out with every single plan of, all right, if this happened, if this happened, if this happened, and having a backup plan for everything.
When you were
And
talking,
some of it is instinct.
when you were talking about how you were making your little Mac plan, it almost sounded like how one would create a stand-up set. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's the show is like, all right, what's the audience? Like, for instance, you got to hit hard. You can't let them eat you up. And if they're trying to eat you up, you shut it down. Like, nope, I'm the baddest man on the planet. Knowing how to pause, how to control. Anime Expo, how Sac Anime used to be. I still watch the shows. Like, I remember, like, they'd be, oh, okay, good guys, cool, awesome, bad guys, ooh. So it's like, how do we play that up? How do we play that up? And then, it's looking at each, like, this is how I'm going to reach the audience. What I had was Sega de Sancho. That was the hardest character. I'm like, right. So I didn't do well for that character. And then for a joke character, Santa Claus, like, do you have the costume? I do. Well, let's get it done. let's get it going. And Santa Claus felt right. It's just practicing your craft, and also just, have someone like, hey, what do you think of this? Harsh. This part was easy. This was pretty good. Follow critiques, ask questions. It's one of the biggest things you could do.
That's great advice.
Oh, before we move on to the next tangent, there was one more element of Ellie's question that we didn't want to get skipped over, and which was what? Can you give us one of your sample jokes from your stand-up set?
All right.
Oh yes, please.
All right, so this is the
drop whatever drop whatever context you need, so we're in the right mind.
I'll do like maybe a 2-minute like little shtick right here. So my day job is a personal trainer. I love what I do, but you got to have nerves of steel. I say that because people at the gym do weird shit. Currently at the gym, it's perfectly okay to talk to me for 15 minutes while you're butt ass naked. I have no issues with nudity, but I do have issues when you're jousting towards me. It's a visual bit. I'm going to skip over that. But the next one would be like, another weird thing people do is they steal stuff from the gym. And I'm not talking about little itty bitty bands. It's nothing that makes sense, like a towel or water bottle. No, people steal weights. I'm talking about 45-pound plates. Because I own gym equipment at home. And I'm not scared that you're going to come to my house, steal my stuff, and make a quick buck. No, I'm scared that you're going to come to my house, steal my stuff, and come back stronger. There's more of another visual bit. So, yeah, that's pretty much, I took life and like, all right, how do I make that funny?
So you're a personal trainer?
Excellent segue, G.
Thank you. So you're a personal trainer?
Mm-hmm.
So that must mean that you're really into fitness.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now I just need to put these pieces together. You are a theater person, a wrestling aficionado, and you're a fitness person? It's no fair. You can't have stat points and all that stuff.
Yes, you could say he's pretty high performance character.
Yes.
Pretty high performance guy.
Multi-classing.
Oh, I like that question. Black Freight just asked, which wrestler would you pick to be your gym training partner?
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, good one.
Taking it.
Consider it stolen.
We're stealing that one. That is really good.
Thank you, Black Freight.
Thank you, Black Freight. So, so you're tell now normally the stereotype about us anime nerds and gamers is that not too many of us have an interest in the physical side or working
Do
out.
we even lift?
Yeah, we lift people's spirits.
Do you even Leviosa, man? Do you even Leviosa?
Wow,
Oh my
Harry
God.
Potter.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
what got you into you into exercise and fitness to the point where you wanted to start, do it professionally?
All right. Well, first, I used to be a fat kid. Fat. Today. For me, it was like, I didn't like sports. I didn't like, soccer, baseball. But I was very big into martial arts. So today I teach Muay Thai kickboxing. Back when I was younger, I started off with Taekwondo and I loved it. And then eventually I moved on to wrestling. Then I moved on to other things. And I was like, I should probably lift weights. Let's try it.
So
And, I was a big,
before we moved to wrestling, so what was it about the martial arts appeal to you? Was it just kind of like, oh, was it self defense? Was it I saw these in the movies, so I want to do these cool moves? Like,
it's a little bit of column A, column B. Like we grew up watching Power Rangers. We grew up watching Ninja Turtles and watching wrestling. It's like, I want to be like, he's the strongest guy. I want to be like that. And as Dragon Ball Z came out, I want to look like that, and which to today, a lot of pop culture, a lot of nerd culture is on workout gear. You see Goku on like weightlifting shirts. You see All Might workout clothes. Marvel, all that stuff. For me, it was seeing all these superheroes, seeing Spider-Man, seeing Captain America, seeing Superman. I'm like, man, I want to look like that. And to this day, I still act like that. After every time I see a Marvel movie, I'm like, damn, I want to look like Thor. Damn, I want to look like that. You know, it's a lot of it was just a lot of the stuff I looked into. It was cool. That was awesome. I want to look like that guy. He looks strong. I want to be strong. Out of 5 brothers, and when you're not strong enough to reverse wrestling moves, your motivation to get stronger goes a little higher.
so you had
I would bet.
you had a rival then.
About 4 of them.
Your brothers, are any of them like were they also into fitness or working out in martial arts like you? Like you said, one of your
um,
brothers put you in a wrestling move. Was this was
one of
this?
our,
Oh no, go ahead.
so yeah, we all grew up watching wrestling. The ones that were really into it was my older brother and my younger brother and me. We liked it a lot. My older brother is actually a pro wrestler today, and he
No
followed his
kidding.
No kidding. Okay,
he followed his goals and dreams for that.
okay, we can't let that slide. So first off, are you comfortable with sharing like who your brother is and where he wrestles regularly? So you can
I'm gonna
tell.
mess up the organization names, but if you watch, I'm okay telling it because I want him to get the publicity. Like I want him to, he's the one that went off and did his dream, and he's doing it today. And if like if you have something you want to do, go for it. Go do it. His name is the Hidden Gem Matt Carlos.
The hidden gem.
I think that's his current thing right now. He used to be Out of Control Matt Carlos, and yeah, he does his thing. He used to put me in a lot of locks. Your fours suck until I was strong enough to reverse it.
Ooh.
Up here he is. Yep, hidden gem Matt Carlos. And a quick Google search shows that he plays Ryu in Hood Slam. Uh,
Yes. There was one
wow.
show where he was Sasha Banks
What?
for the women's.
Oh, I know about this show. It was a special.
Yeah.
Ellie, are you aware of Hood Slam?
Yes, I am, though even though I'm a Bay Area native, I've never been, and it's a shame.
well, they started doing more shows every month, but one of the episodes was it was a women's theme, so everybody was a female character, including the men, and apparently Efren's brother wrestled as Sasha Banks.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, that makes me a happy man. Uh, so you had
And
a so not it's just mind blowing how the pieces just kind of like fell into your lap without us even knowing it. Where you grew up watching, a lot of anime, you got into fitness. Your brother became a wrestler, and then you became a cosplay wrestler. Uh, Now I gotta ask, since we're on this fitness side, and since you love wrestling, do you do DDP yoga?
do I do DDP yoga? Coming from the man who introduced me to DDP yoga,
Don't
it's
say
hard
that.
for me
That was supposed to.
to.
Don't you just give it away now? It feels like a softball.
No,
Just a question.
I gotta give you major props for that, man. Like, because I'm a certified instructor, and everywhere I go with it, people love it. It's
So,
funny because when I did yoga, like original, just plain yoga, I was like, this is dumb. Then you show me like a few moves in the shop, and I'm like more into it. You let me borrow the DVDs, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. I did energy, and I'm sore. I gotta get more into this.
uh,
I
now, uh,
do love it.
I mean, we're gonna talk about it a little bit, just because it's just a weird thing. Because with wrestling, we're used to wrestlers promoting shirts, beef, Slim Jims, video games, but
Is this what I think it is? Is this Diamond Dallas
yes,
doing
Yep.
yoga?
Diamond Dallas Page doing yoga.
Wow.
So apparently, what happened was, the story is that Diamond Dallas Page, who got into wrestling really late. I want to say late 30s. Uh, he was injured, but his body, like, to the point where he couldn't wrestle, and the injuries would say, like, they said that he had to retire. His girlfriend at the time was told him to do yoga, and DDP's, I ain't doing yoga. He's like, do yoga. Oh, like, do yoga or you can't wrestle. So he started doing yoga, and it actually like started healing up a lot of his scar tissue. And he mixed it in with some of his some calisthenic training and some resistant training, and then he made DDP yoga. Now, this is gonna sound like a little plug, but F it, because this is wrestling related, and this is Efren's episode. So
Plug it.
Efren, for those people who've only heard of it or the uninitiated, like, what makes DDP yoga special compared to, you know, other exercises?
The way I find it special is it's one of those things where yoga, we think of, like, getting inner peace, something very, like, very quiet, very soft. This one, you can kind of be a goofball, a killer workout. Like, you don't need weights, resistance. You don't need a lot of space. You just need enough space to, like, oh, I need to do a push up. I need to do this now. And it's the greatest thing is it allows modifications. Most yogas out there don't really allow much modifications. Like, you got to do your best to be in this tree pose for 3 minutes. You can't do a tree pose, hold on to a chair. You can't do a push up, go to your knees. You can't do this, do this. It's make it so, like, where people who aren't physically able to do things still participate. I've had people do it while sitting in a chair the whole time, even though when we had to go down for push-ups. I've had people who, like, I can't do this, how do I modify it? I have knee issues, I can't do this, how do I modify it? So it doesn't exclude you from, because I believe everyone should exercise. It's good for you. It's one of the things that, as we get older, we got to protect our bones and our muscles. I'd rather be standing up straight at 90 years old than bent over looking at the floor. um it's one of those things where that person looking at the floor, awesome, you can still do this. Well, it helps let people who can't exercise exercise. And if you guys get a chance, look up YouTube, look up DDP Yoga Arthur, one of the most famous stories where a paratrooper pretty much lost his like ability to walk on his own to the point where at the end of the video he's running. Look at that and like the doctor would be like, "That's impossible. How do you do that?" Well, he practiced every day for a whole year, and his results show it.
So, what is it about this workout that helps rehabilitate people, or the power of yoga? Because it almost sounds like it's like Doctor Strange, where you're putting magic in people and they could like run again or something. I'm sure it's not, but
Much as my scope of my practice, I can probably say it's probably because a lot of people are utilizing the muscles. Like if I'm going to lift do a bicep curl, how do I contract the muscles to do it myself? Lift weights, do it to yourself. Hold yourself back while trying to do a bicep curl. You're developing that strength. It leads to, okay, my heart's going to start beating a little bit more. Cardio, fat burn, there you go. And also it helps with stretching. You neglect doing is stretching. Flexibility training is one of the things that gets a lot of people. Those elements to it, doing little by little each day, eventually to the point where you can now do this. You can now go to the next level. You can now try it without. You have better balance. Your muscles are working again.
Well, I'm sold. No, seriously. This is kind of personal, and I don't want to make things about me, but I'm getting over this like mysterious chronic illness that made it very difficult for me to bench from the waist, to do anything. Like I couldn't tie my shoes without wanting to vomit immediately, and I got really out of shape. So I'm only thinking like, oh man, why did I not hear about this? This would have been perfect for me in that way.
and
Good.
I know. I think it's just that the fact that we're having this conversation about yoga, and but also have it be tangential to wrestling, really just shows how far the scope of influence wrestling is. Because back in the day, with Macho, like not Macho Man, but Macho Bravado, no one like your typical macho guy would never proudly admit that he does yoga. You flash forward now, it's like, what? Good enough for DDP? Good enough for me. It's just
And Daniel Bryan is the WWE Championship as a vegan with a hemp rope.
yeah.
Belt.
Yeah,
Well,
like, oh my god, yeah. One of the
just like in the
best.
fitness world, it changes.
The fit. It's yeah. We have a vegan with a hemp belt as champion. We have. We have a guy who wears super bright tights and throw pancakes, being seen as a legitimate badass, Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston, and we had like the super, like one of the pinnacles, like one of the WCW former champions, doing yoga unironically and getting other people excited about yoga. What a time!
Just
What
it's
a
times are changing. Because if you look at the gym, like 20, like not even maybe 10 years ago, it used to be who's the biggest guy in the gym. He's probably the most knowledgeable. But you look at the fittest people in the world, they're not hulks. They're not these big super people. They're people who AJ Styles, people who look like Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, um, guys like that. It's no longer the pedal pump and iron, like to the point where no pain, no gain. There's a science to exercise. It's not just being the sizable person. I mean, pro wrestlers, if you look at them, probably the most ideal athletes in the world.
And they come in all shapes and sizes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, I guess like you're the way you've been talking about this, it's really showing that your attitudes towards fitness is less about the ideal aesthetic but more so about doing better than what you were before. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm fit fat. I'm I'm in shape. I can I tell people I will outwork you. I may not have the six pack. I may have some chub. I may not have the good looking body, but you want to go a couple rounds holding pads, you want to lift, you want to try to outdo me. As long as it's not running, I'm probably going to outwork you.
Ah, running is your weakness. Good to
Running is
know.
well. First off, the running is everyone. Like running is, if you have kneecaps, running is your weakness.
You're either a runner or you're not.
Pretty much. I mean, anyone can still do it. It's just, it's not my favorite thing. I'd rather ride a bike. I'd rather do something else. And for me, it's if you like doing it, keep doing it. That's kind of how I see fitness.
So, as a person who spends a lot of time in the world of theater and the world of fitness, do you see any crossover in terms of mentality that you take to these worlds, or skills that you didn't think apply to one actually end up applying to the other?
I would say um, the biggest thing would be my power to dissect things and analyze. And if I did an improv show or a CWF show and was like, that wasn't my best performance, the crowd wasn't into it. Why weren't they into it? I dissect, I rewatch footage. I'm like, okay, that's why. Let's do it better. When it comes to fitness, same thing. You know, I used to be able, like, let's say I'm trying to bench press 200 pounds, but for some reason I'm stuck. Okay, why am I stuck? How's my um, how's my eating habits? How's my sleep habits? How's my other exercise? It's just having that power to dissect things and analyzing it is as things, and not you know getting analysis paralysis where you just overanalyze it, but more of like, okay, I didn't do it this time. That as I give up, I can't do it, or all right, how do I change my plan up so I can do it next time? It's just dissecting, and then um, you find the answer.
Yeah, that's that's a very zen way of looking at it, because one thing I learned, because I did a lot of powerlifting.
Mm.
I stopped recently just because my gym membership ran out, in combination with an injury. But I really liked it. I was on Starting Strength, and I read a lot of Mark Ripetoe's techniques, the guy who wrote it. And for me, one of the most important things about lifting, and if I could pivot this into the theater world, was that it was one of the very few times where I had to really learn and listen to my body.
Mm.
Like, how I had to really pay attention about what's engaged. I it was one of the I learned that I have calf muscles and thigh muscles and toes, and feeling all of that, and just being hyper aware, and it was almost meditative,
Yeah.
because I knew that if I went on autopilot with a barbell on my back that has over 200 pounds on it, I will die, or
Oh yeah.
I would be hurt. I had to really focus on what I did and what I needed to do, and to take that focus and put it into our performance is something that's very valuable, because you'll see when you perform that you don't realize how often you move your arm, or how often you pace. You're really disconnected from yourself.
I found after being Catwoman at HentaiCon that I could barely stand because I had been running around and dancing in little heels, and I hadn't worn heels in over a year. and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've gotten a CWF workout.
And it goes with a lot of it goes with characterization and understanding. She said it's understanding your body. Um, when you're a character, it's like, how would the character walk? And all of a sudden, if you feel like, oh, I just blanked out, what happened? Did you get out of the character because you start reverting back to yourself? Did you, was it something like, yeah, I should probably change up the attire so it can move well, or it feels good? Or is it just something like, I didn't prepare for this, or I over prepared? There's a lot of questions to definitely ask.
Yeah, we talk about the physicality of performance a lot, and I think it's only fitting that we really talk about it when in this unintentionally fitness centered episode. But I just wanted to share this detail. Like, you're all aware of Mr. Hiki, right?
Mm.
Yes.
And how Mr. Hiki is always stressed out. One of the things I do as Mr. Hiki, and this is very tiring, is that I always try to keep my eyes as open, as wide as I can. And I will tense up my arms so that anytime there's a sensation coming at to me, my body is in this. I do this to put my body intentionally in a fight or flight mode. So that way, when I'm reacting, I look like I'm going to die, which is Mr. Hiki's his neutral point is hyper nervousness, and it's very tiring. Like, to keep yourself those parts tense for 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were grinding your teeth at all in character, because the way you hold your mouth is different. I don't know if even you're aware of it.
No, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were like clenching your jaw or grinding your teeth or something to help bring it in, but maybe it's just a side effect of the wide eyes. That could be.
It's a side effect of the wide eyes. I do know that I tense my jaw and I tense my fingers, but it's probably a side effect because everything follows. But, enough about Mr. Hiki. Nobody likes Mr. Hiki. I don't like Mr. Hiki. But Everett, you got any interesting CWF stories to share?
Oh, I got a couple. So this happened after Anime Expo. So I was at a recycling plant, drop off some recycles. Someone looks at me, Mac, out of all places, like, yeah, oh man, that was an awesome thing. I was there at Anime Expo. I kind of think Yami Yugi won. I'm like, get the hell out of here. But it was cool that we can recognize there. My favorite one, which I'm pretty sure you're alluding to, was Fanime 3. I've had the belt for over a year. And I know that Daniel, he has the case. And every show, when we're at Krakencon, when we're at Krakencon, we're at Sac Anime. If I was Little Mac, I would look into the camera and like, hey, Yamayugi, if you want to cash in, you know where to find me. Cash in, cash in. And I even did that to a Krakencon camera, not a CWF camera. So they have footage of me just trash talking Yamayugi as Little Mac, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. But
Wow.
and then yeah, and no one told me if Daniel was going to show up.
By the way, I found out what that camera was filming for.
A documentary, right?
Yeah, it was a documentary. It was actually a very serious documentary about the over fetishization that anime fans have toward Asian culture and Asians in general. So they were cutting this really serious documentary. You're like, Little Mac, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Wow.
Oh man. And then yeah, and so I'm at fan. Like, I just had this weird odd feeling because I'm like, something doesn't feel right. Something just doesn't feel right. And every so often, I would see Daniel. When I saw you at the swap meet, you saw me with the belt on. I didn't notice Daniel run across the street. I didn't notice that. And then just so they hide Daniel from me, and we were talking, walking in the gaming hall. I see this guy, and keep in mind, I've never seen Daniel out of cosplay. I only know him as Yama Yugi. Out of cosplay, he's and and he has like Hawaiian. He has a Hawaiian shirt on, glasses on, sandals, shorts. I've never seen him like that. I look and I'm like, why does that face look familiar? So I start walking towards that area, and I just see him walk up and walk away. So I'm like, that can't be him.
Sounds like
And-
you got you paranoid.
That's so sitcom. Could that be him? Nah, couldn't be.
For me, because we became, we talked, we became good friends, and it's just like, hey, I would love to, hang out with him. Let's go get something to eat. I'm a very friendly person. Let's go talk. And then when it comes to the day of the show, I wasn't listening to the people talk. It wasn't bad anything. Everyone was amazing. It was a really good show. Daniel just says, I still feel bad for ditching that guy next to the giant Jenga set. And I was just in this mode. I'm like, something isn't right. Something's telling me, don't listen, wait, watch. And I'm like, okay. And then I was called to the stage right before I was about to hit the mic. Boom, his music plays. And you can ask Daniel the same thing. 30 minutes, but it was only like a few seconds passed by. And then just the chemistry, just like, okay, let's go head to head and just start yelling at each other. And that was one of my favorite moments, because it was like, one, it was, oh man, this is awesome. Thank you, G, for like having this moment. At the same time, fuck you, G. I was like, oh my god.
That is definitely.
But I love that moment.
It's an ongoing joke where fuck you G is been used as a sign of
Surprise.
no I'm trying to find a way. It's when people say fuck you G to me from the team, not in real life, so please don't swear
It's like
at
a
me.
phrase of endearment.
Don't do that to him in real life.
It's like pain, joy, like they're pretty much saying, I love that this is happening, but I hate you for the fact that it's happening to me.
Why me?
Why me? Because
I loved it. It was one of my favorite moments. It's still on my computer.
Efren told me the same thing when Dio came back. He said...
It wasn't Little Mac.
Yeah, he wasn't Little Mac. And Efren said this to me, where the moment the lights turned off, Efren just went, fuck you, G, to himself.
And then, like,
as a current champion, I gotta say that this really makes me glad that we're like ditching the whole secret plans angle in our planning sessions. This is scary stuff.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and
but a different time.
It was back in the
It was a
day.
different time.
We had a lot of fun surprising each other, and that's what we liked. Was, oh man, we want to entertain the staff as much as the audience. But now that the product has gotten to this size and there's a lot more pieces here, it's better to be on the same page and be cohesive. There's a lot less cloak and dagger. Maybe.
There's still room for some surprises, but yeah, I'm all for it.
That's just so funny. So, do you have any in-jokes that you'd like to share with the group, or any more stories to tell?
Man, in-jokes.
I actually... Tell them about the amiibo.
Oh, okay. So this is more of a story. Doesn't start out that way. So this was Anime Expo 2015. And 2015, amiibos were like rare. Like, it was hard to come across them. unless you wanted to drop hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. Daniel unveils a little Mac amiibo. He he's like, oops, dropped it. Oops, dropped it. And he stomps on it while it's still in the box. Everyone in the room murdered a puppy. Like, they were like,
Murderer,
oh my
no.
God.
There is a
And,
photo of the crowd at the exact moment he steps on it, and it's bloody murder. Ellie, I will show you that photo when this is done.
And
Yes.
the great thing about it was, he kept the amiibo. The amiibo was in the briefcase when he cashed in. He gave me that amiibo, and I still have it, and it's in a special little case. And that was really cool. So for his first title defense, I gave him my little foam Millennium Puzzle.
Oh, you guys have a friendship of tchotchkes. That's so great.
Still have a score to settle, but it's one of the things, like, what, I'm all like, I'm glad you beat me. I'm glad, like, it was one of those, like, oh man, I'm no longer the champ, but hey, this was an amazing run. If I could do it again, I totally would.
Speaking of champs, how do you feel about Francesca von Karmos tying your record?
Honestly, I will definitely. It'd be awesome if she beats it. I'm all for change. I'm all for, like, hey, this is what's going. If she can do it, and that's the greatest thing about the CWF. Who, like, 5 years ago, would we have thought we currently have 2 amazing women champion right now?
That's
at the same
true.
time.
And we're both named Elizabeth.
Yeah. And people, conspiracy. But it's one of those things, if you guys want help on anything, or like to talk strategy, yeah, I want you to beat my record. I want you to, like, surpass it. I want you to do this. Because I remember Expo, me and Eli, we talked a little bit. She was like, what do you got suggestions? I'm like, all right, cool. You're the first person to ask. She retains. And then we talked more about, like, hey, what's your character going to do now? What do you want to do? What's this and what's that? And I'm like, cool. I hope you beat my thing at Fanimania. Because that's a tough crowd.
That's very admirable to say, because normally when someone has a record, they're understandably so, they're a little possessive of it. Like, this is my thing. But you're the opposite. It's like, yes, please beat it.
Eli actually told me about that conversation of yours right after I won the title. She said, okay, let me know if you want to retain. I'll talk to you like Efren talked to me. And so I want you to know that you've got that added legacy that is now being passed on. And I was going to go to her for it, but I'm going to hit you up too now that you've given the invitation.
I almost spilled the beans on this podcast earlier, but whenever you guys want, it's how I dissect the show. It's how I see things. How I, like, as I said earlier, I like to dissect. I'm like, I like to see this character do this now. I like to see this character do this. I like to see this tag team, this pair up go up. Like, and I have my reasons, and I have my, like, Guy Fury and Isabel. Flavortown needs an assistant.
Oh, that is adorable.
That is adorable.
There's a video I'm going to send you guys later to, like, yeah, this is why I thought that. But yeah, it's, we do the show together. We have each other's backs. We're not like, no, I'm going to be the champ. I'm going to be the champ. If you're the champ, cool. The show, you're going to get your spotlight. Keep that going. If you can beat my record, make me proud. And I had my run. Now it's the new generation. It's the new blood.
Man, you are a great senpai to have. We are so lucky to have you.
Hearing you talk about this, what does the championship mean to you? Like, is it a status symbol? Is it just you being the main character for an episode for a day? Like, how do you see it?
That's an interesting question because yes, you are the star, you are the main attraction. People like, oh, are they going to take? But that can mean I want him to lose. I want him to do this. It has a sense of like morale. I remember, I forgot who it was. Uh, some people who were just super nervous. It was Fanime 3 Sac Anime show. It's just like, hey, I'm here. Let's talk. What's up? It's one of the things that you got to this point. Let's get everyone else to this point too. If you want to lead what they want, lead the people to, hey, this is how you have a great show. One little fun fact about the CWF: most people who went first. So, we like, there's no secrets to hide. We're not here trying to like, I'm trying to get my spotlight. No, the belt symbolizes, yeah, I worked hard.
Holy crap, you're right. Little Mac went first at Phantomania. Yami Yugi went first at ALA. Franziska von Karma went first at Krakencon. Sailor Moon went first at Fanime.
Yep. And it's one of those things where
Oh my god!
Gee, you didn't realize this?
No!
People kept coming up to me. I was going first at Phantomania. In my recollection, was like the ballsiest thing I ever did unknowingly. Because if I'd known then what I know now, I would not have debuted at Phantomania. It worked out okay, but anyway, I was so anxious, and I kept talking to people, and I was like, okay, does the going to throw up or have diarrhea feeling go away? Like any tips for me going first? And several people came up to me and said, look, you're going first. That means you have the curse of the people that go first. You're eventually going to become a champion.
Yeah. Champion is, not necessarily just the recognition. It's just like, hey, what can I do? I said, like, we gave you all the information. Like, you're first, don't worry about it. You're gonna be great. You'll be a champ one day. What was the last part? You'll be great. So it's just like, I see it as a because I don't care much about recognition. It's just more of the whole symbol of, hey, right, if you guys want to become champ, this is how you do it. This is how we do it. Let's get more champs up there. Let's like everyone get a turn with a belt, and then have that endless hunger of, get that feeling of I'm here too. Let's get someone else up here too, and just performing an awesome show. Let's just keep the show going and keep it running hard, and let's just have an awesome time.
It's funny. In this episode, we have one blackout champion, one self-appointed blackout champion, and one heavyweight champion. I don't think it should be fair to include myself in the championship. Like, this is what I did. You make a character and you write yourself to be the champion.
Well, gee, you got to give yourself some credit there, because if you weren't there as the initial champion and so difficult to beat, whoever came after you wouldn't have earned it.
Aw, thank you. But it was just more so that I want you guys to like have the recognition of earning the championship.
No, it totally makes sense.
Wow, that blew my mind. Thank you. Wow, I never saw it that way. Wow, I just said wow 3 times.
Whoa.
Whoa. Well, that certainly flew by. It's 9:00. I think we should be wrapping it up. But man, that was
fun.
That was fun. Thanks for being here, Efren. We got to learn a lot about a very methodical way of approaching fitness, performance, and life.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time and for being an excellent senpai.
Well, thanks for having me. Like, you guys continue the show. I can't do shows that often just because of the distance I'm at, but I'm always happy to help, throw my input. If anyone, if the CWF is listening, if you guys want to, you know, shoot some ideas at each other, I'm more than happy. If you guys, one day, if we happen to be at the same convention, let's get a DDP yoga session going. Let's do it.
Oh, I am so taking you up on that.
So yeah, it's it's the CWF's more than just a show. It's, hey, we became friends doing the weirdest thing.
Ain't
Like,
that
hey,
ain't that the truth?
from the moment of saying, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Oh my God, I'm going first, to the point of, hey, now, ooh, I like your character. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah.
It's really cool getting your perspective. There's definitely, we've reached the point at the 6 year mark where we could clearly say there is a new and old generation. Because the new talent just went that was I forgot we're on audio. I just did a thumbs up going high as to simulate a rocket blast. Not, I know it sounded like a gunshot, but it's a positive gesture.
Sounded pretty positive to me.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you once again, and thank you CWF Universe for chiming in on the conversation, and double thank you to Black Freight for giving us a question to steal. This was
indeed.
This was our first episode of March for Backstage Pass. So signing off, this is Gerardo Paz.
And this is Ellie D.
And of course our guest,
Efren, aka Little Mac.
Hope to hear from you soon. See you again, and thanks for listening.